What if I told you that one of America's most prominent defense attorneys believes the most high-profile death in recent history was actually murder? Alan Dershowitz, the legal mind who's defended everyone from O.J. Simpson to Harvey Weinstein, has gone on record claiming Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. But here's the twist that'll blow your mind. Dershowitz himself was allegedly connected to Epstein's inner circle, making his murder theory even more explosive than you might think. Today we're diving deep into one of the most controversial conspiracy theories of our time, but this isn't coming from some random internet sleuth. This is coming from a Harvard law professor who spent decades in courtrooms, who understands the justice system better than almost anyone alive, and who has access to information most of us can only dream about. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear will challenge everything you thought you knew about Jeffrey Epstein's final days. Let's start with the man making these claims. Alan Dershowitz isn't just any lawyer, he's a legal legend. For over 50 years, he's been at the centre of America's biggest criminal cases. He helped defend Klaus von Bülow, worked on the O.J. Simpson Dream Team, represented Mike Tyson, and even served on Donald Trump's impeachment defence team. This is a man who's seen the dark underbelly of power, wealth and corruption from the inside. When someone with his credentials and connections starts talking about murder conspiracies, people listen. But here's where things get really interesting. Dershowitz wasn't just observing the Epstein case from the sidelines, he was reportedly part of Epstein's world. Flight logs show Dershowitz flew on Epstein's private jet multiple times. Photos exist of them together as social events. Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's accusers, specifically named Dershowitz as someone who allegedly participated in the abuse, claims he vehemently denies and has fought in court for years. So when this man who had personal knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein, who understood the web of powerful people surrounding him, when he says Epstein was murdered, we have to ask ourselves, what does he know that we don't? Let's examine Dershowitz's murder theory piece by piece. First, he points to the sheer implausibility of the suicide narrative. According to the official reports, Jeffrey Epstein, a man who had everything to live for, despite his legal troubles, a man who had beaten similar charges before and had the best lawyers money could buy, somehow decided to end his life in a federal detention centre. But Dershowitz argues this makes no sense from a psychological perspective. Epstein was a narcissist who believed he could beat any charge, who had previously gotten an incredibly lenient plea deal in Florida, who had connections to some of the most powerful people on earth. Men like this don't typically give up and kill themselves. They fight until the bitter end. Then there's the timing. Epstein allegedly committed suicide just one day after a massive document dump that implicated numerous high-profile individuals in his trafficking ring. Dershowitz suggests this timing is too convenient to be coincidental. If you were a powerful person whose reputation and freedom were about to be destroyed by Epstein's testimony, wouldn't that be the perfect moment to silence him forever? The physical evidence is equally troubling according to Dershowitz's analysis. The official story claims Epstein hanged himself using bedsheets tied to his bunk bed. But forensic experts, including Dr. Michael Baden, who performed an independent autopsy, found injuries consistent with homicidal strangulation rather than suicide by hanging. The bones in Epstein's neck were broken in a pattern more commonly seen in murder victims than suicide victims. Dershowitz also points to the mysterious circumstances surrounding Epstein's death. The cameras outside his cell mysteriously malfunctioned. The guards who were supposed to be checking on him every 30 minutes were apparently asleep or browsing the internet. His cellmate had been transferred just hours before his death, leaving him alone despite protocols that should have prevented this. These aren't just random coincidences according to Dershowitz. They represent a coordinated effort to create the perfect opportunity for murder while maintaining plausible deniability. Someone with serious resources and connections orchestrated these events to ensure Epstein would never see the inside of a courtroom. But who would have had the motive and means to orchestrate such an elaborate murder? Dershowitz believes the list of potential suspects is longer than most people realise. We're talking about world leaders, billionaires, celebrities, politicians from both sides of the aisle, members of royal families, and intelligence operatives from multiple countries. Consider the stakes involved. Epstein's client list was reportedly a who's who of the global elite. These weren't just men who might face embarrassment. Many face potential criminal charges, the complete destruction of their reputations, and the loss of billions of dollars. When people with that much power and wealth are backed into a corner, Dershowitz argues they're capable of anything. The intelligence community angle adds another layer of complexity to Dershowitz's theory. There's substantial evidence that Epstein had connections to intelligence agencies, possibly serving as an asset who gathered compromising information on powerful individuals. If this is true, then his murder wasn't just about silencing one man, it was about protecting an entire intelligence operation that had taken decades to build. Dershowitz has also highlighted the suspicious behaviour of various officials following Epstein's death. Instead of launching a thorough investigation into the obvious security failures, authorities seemed more interested in quickly closing the case and moving on. The FBI's handling of evidence has been questionable, with reports of missing or destroyed materials that could have provided crucial insights into Epstein's final days. The media response has been equally telling, according to Dershowitz's analysis. Rather than asking hard questions about the numerous red flags surrounding Epstein's death, most mainstream outlets quickly accepted the official suicide narrative and moved on to other stories. This lack of curiosity from institutions that are supposed to hold power accountable suggests to Dershowitz that powerful forces were working to suppress serious investigation. But here's where Dershowitz's theory gets really explosive. He doesn't just believe Epstein was murdered, he believes the murder was carried out by professionals with connections to intelligence agencies. This wasn't some crude hit job, but rather a sophisticated operation designed to look like suicide while eliminating any evidence that could lead back to the real perpetrators. The method was perfect because it achieved multiple objectives simultaneously. It silenced Epstein permanently, sent a clear message to other potential whistleblowers about the consequences of crossing certain powerful individuals, and did so in a way that allowed everyone to maintain plausible deniability. Even if people suspected murder, proving it would be nearly impossible, given how carefully the operation was planned and executed. Dershowitz's personal experience with high-stakes criminal cases gives weight to his analysis. He's seen how the justice system really works when billions of dollars and enormous power are at stake. He understands that certain individuals and institutions operate by different rules, that they have resources and capabilities that ordinary people can barely imagine. The implications of Dershowitz's murder theory extend far beyond just one suspicious death. If he's correct, it means we're living in a world where a shadowy network of elite individuals can literally get away with murder to protect their interests. It means our justice system, our media, and our government institutions can be manipulated by those with sufficient wealth and power. This isn't just about Jeffrey Epstein anymore, it's about whether we live in a society governed by laws or one controlled by a small group of untouchable elites. If they can orchestrate the murder of someone as high profile as Epstein in federal custody, what else might they be capable of? Dershowitz's theory also raises uncomfortable questions about his own role in the Epstein saga. Critics argue that his murder claims might be motivated by self-interest, that promoting conspiracy theories helps deflect attention from his own alleged connections to Epstein's crimes. They suggest he has every reason to prefer a narrative where Epstein was silenced by unknown killers rather than one where he might have provided testimony about specific individuals. But supporters of Dershowitz counter that this criticism actually strengthens his credibility. If he were truly guilty of the crimes he's accused of, would he really want to keep the Epstein story alive by promoting murder conspiracy theories? Wouldn't it be in his interest to let the story die with Epstein's supposed suicide? The truth is, we may never know definitively whether Jeffrey Epstein was murdered or committed suicide. Too much evidence has been lost, too many key witnesses have remained silent, and too many powerful people have too much to lose from a thorough investigation. But Alan Dershowitz's murder theory, coming from someone with his legal expertise and insider knowledge, demands serious consideration. What we do know is that Epstein's death represents one of the most convenient outcomes imaginable for numerous powerful individuals who are potentially implicated in his crimes. Whether that convenience resulted from luck, suicide, or murder remains the ultimate question. But in a world where power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, Dershowitz's skepticism about the official narrative seems not just reasonable, but necessary. The Jeffrey Epstein case will likely remain controversial for generations to come, but thanks to voices like Alan Dershowitz, who refuse to accept easy answers when the stakes are this high, the pressure for truth and accountability continues. In the end, that might be the most important legacy of this entire sordid affair.